Okay, so in this tutorial, we're going to look at working with large amounts of data sets and being able to filter those and extract the information that you really need that's important for you. So I found a really large spreadsheet here, which is based on 2016 data sets for life expectancy. This is just an example, just to show you. Now, once I've opened it up, there is absolutely loads of data here. So you can see there's just pages and pages of data based on female to males, cohorts, ages, okay? So there's lots of data here and it's very difficult to know exactly what we need to filter and use. Now the best thing to do is, at the moment this is a read-only copy when you download it, is to actually be able to save it into your documents yourself so that you can then make it your own version and you can edit it. Okay, so I've now saved this within my own documents. Now, there could be that you don't actually want a lot of the data because it's really out of date. So you might want to delete elements of the data. So perhaps from 1999 up to 1981, I don't want to know about. So I'm going to right click on them. I'm going to delete them. It could be that I actually only want to know from 2010 onwards, because that's in the last 13 years, right? Okay, so this shows me all the ages. This shows me how many of those age ranges died. So I'm now going to, I want to discount zeros, because obviously these would have been children under the age of 1, and as you can see it's the same for all of them, because I don't think they count those as part of the official death toll. Okay, so these are females at the moment, so we're just going to have a look, and this is based on history of mortality rates from 1981 to 2016, but we know now we've taken a load of that out, so it's not based on that. Some of these are actual projections, so they're not necessarily accurate statistics as such, and that would be something that you could comment on as well. So what I'm going to do, I want to make it easier to sort through some of this data. So they're predicting up to 2066, okay? Now, again, you might want to take out some of that data, you might not want to know it. So I'm highlighting the areas where all the data is, and I'm going to click on this filter button. And now you'll see that each of them have got their own little filter on here. So for example, if I only wanted to search for those, say, aged over 80, because I wanted to look at the mortality rate, then I can click on that data specifically. Okay, so we can filter things, which makes it a lot easier. So then you can obviously make a chart based on those figures if you wanted to compare the years and say, for example, you know, I don't really want to do data that isn't accurate, so perhaps I might do the first 5 years, perhaps, or the first 6 years up to 2016. And then I can highlight, and obviously you can make a chart based on the data. Now, as you can see, it looks a little bit colourful and crazy because there's so many different areas to look at on there. But we can make the chart a lot bigger if we need to, so that obviously we can see elements of it. And then we can make use of the data. So these here are going to become dates. So if I click on select data, I'm going to edit this bit here, and then I'm going to select the range. Okay, so I just had to move my chart down slightly so I could access the top. So if I right click and select data, this time I'm going to have to put the years on here. So if I click on edit, it comes up with this bar here. And all I have to do then is simply select on here what it is I wanted to look at. And then it already pre-populates all of my dates for me. So now this is starting to make a little bit more sense. So we've got more data now on here that we can have a look at. I don't necessarily like the chart type, so I could change it if I wanted to. If I wanted to look at a different type of column, it's entirely up to you what you want to do. Because there's a lot of data to compare, it's slightly more awkward. If you put things like, you have to have axes on there, as I've explained before, because this is really good practice. And what you can do, if you click on here and then you want to change the area in which the chart is actually in, then we can take it and put it onto a new page then. Okay, so if you right click and you want to move the chart, and I want to put it on a new sheet, and then it'll come onto its own chart sheet then, so it makes it a little bit easier for us to be able to handle. If I put data labels on, they actually don't look too bad on here. I think a table will be too full, but obviously it would help us to make sense of it. But I quite like the data labels on here. Now this then becomes quite effective for you to be able to analyze the different types of data on here. So this is a way of being able to do a comparison based on large sets of data on the ONS.